You were in Pyongyang again. Tell us about that first. What's the atmosphere there like?
Well, George, I do have Scottish roots actually, and my trip to the DPRK, the second one I've ever made, surprisingly as an American citizen, it was amazing. I mean, I was there last time in June of last year, so about half a year has passed, and they've already built a new road through the main part of the city. There's already new construction projects all over the place, something that I also saw on my first trip there as well. They showed us some of the new apartment complexes that are given to people free of charge in the capital of the DPRK that everybody in the West says is just in poverty and starving, while people in the United States, are paying tons of money to live in a cardboard box in New York just to survive. And people are saying that that's the American dream. That obviously is one of the main things that always surprises me when I go back to the DPRK. But, they're holding strong, and their economy is not nearly as backwards as much of the Western propaganda claims it is. They're holding their own, and they're now strategic partners with Russia, which is giving them a lot of, obviously, advantages in the economic sphere, defense sphere, diplomatic sphere. And, Sergei Shoigu, the former defense minister of Russia, he went to the DPRK. That's where who I was going with. I was covering his visit. And he actually met with Kim Jong-un to discuss further deepening cooperation in the sphere of defense and probably a lot of other stuff that isn't available to the public. So some high-level stuff going on between Russia and the DPRK right now, while, in the West, we're seeing basically these old allies caving in each other, with the tariff war starting.
Yeah, I want to ask you about them, Donald. I don't know how big you are on the tariff question, but on the face of it, let me make my own politics clear. If I was running Britain, I'd have import controls to protect my own domestic industry. I would have preferences that all public service goods and services would have to be procured from Britain. That's the kind of old-fashioned socialist that I am. How different is Trump's idea to that?
Well, I agree with you, George, in that respect. In the abstract, I think it's a good idea. But I think in the context of this monstrous globalist system that the capitalist class has created since the fall of the Soviet Union, in the context of that, we're looking at radical changes to the system that are likely going to end up in a lot of, I think, bad feelings between different Western leaders that were previously considered to be part of the collective West, and a real serious possibility for, or an increased possibility rather, for a global recession in Western economies. But again, as someone who's in Russia right now, I live in Moscow full time. For any viewers that don't know that, it's almost as if the sanctions that were launched against Russia 3 years ago were sort of God sent. Now Russia's really detached much more from the Western economy than it was before the military operation began. All these Western companies left and they were replaced by Russian ones, and the Russian economy is still around, alive and kicking, without just much more independent from Western economics than it used to be. So if there is some sort of serious global recession in the Western economies because of this tariff war, as they're calling it in the West. And that is a possibility because, of course, we know there was a lot of protectionism around the Great Depression and everything. But if that happens, Russia's not even going to be that affected as it would have been, say, 5-6 years ago.